7 minutes. stand by.
How about that?
Well, as a very wise man said, how about that? Welcome to a Football Friday, everybody. The ship is leaving the port, and we are setting sail on 2 hours of football fun. Yeah. We've been waiting all week for it. Got our football people here. Kevin the Medium co-hosting, riding shotgun here in hour one from the Hughes Sportscast. Kevin the Medium. Coming up in hour two, our dear friend Mike Davis will be joining us from the Vegas Nighthawks Indoor Football League, 5-year veteran of the Canadian Football League and a former Virginia Tech Hokie. There he is. Kevin the Medium is with us on a Football Friday, and trust me, I got a million things to get to today, Kev. You said that you were going to wear your jersey, and you are. I was expecting an orange one. Tell the world why you're rocking BC Lions gunmetal. What do you call that thing?
That's right, gunmetal. But you didn't add in the best uniform in the CFL. But that's okay. That's okay. I understand. You have your fans that you have to back, and I get it. Why am I wearing it? Because it's Football Friday, dude. And it's,
yeah, okay, I got you. You're making, yeah. You're making yourself laugh. I didn't say it was the greatest jersey in the CFL because it's not. Which is actually that would be a pretty good place to start. Like, we got a good poll question here. It's NFL draft related, but everybody tell me, please, what you think the greatest jersey in the Canadian Football League is history-wise. Obviously, Kevin thinks it's that one. To be honest, I'm kind of a fan of those old green neon ones we wore back in the day with the riders, with the wheat sheaths on the shoulders and the watermelon head. I'm on the helmet. I'm not joking, dude. Okay. It's the RP show. Let's get this thing back on track. Kevin the Medium took it off track. Listen, we do have a lot of CFL-related topics we're going to get to. As you can see, we're going to have a lot of fun today. We already are. But the biggest story in the football world, come on. It's the 2026 NFL Draft. And it began in Pittsburgh last night as expected, with Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza going number 1 overall to the Raiders. Alabama's Ty Simpson was the next quarterback off the board, going to the Rams at number 13 in the most surprising pick of the night. I'm going to go way more deep into this later once Kevin adjourns. There's comments that have already come in, and I want to read it because we got Raiders fans tuned in. Didn't take long. Rob from Las Vegas writes, and he says, I think Mendoza's a great fit for the Raiders under Kubiak. It's a run-first system with play action and West Coast concepts, so it really simplifies things for a young quarterback. And as I said to you this morning, I'm a little worried on the Silver State Sports Network, where we air every night in prime time. The hosts are all saying, Fernando Mendoza's going to save the Raiders. He's the savior. And I'm like, oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Is there too much pressure on this kid, Kev, already? Doesn't make it right.
Do that. We talked about it, and whoever gets McKenna, it's going to be the savior, and it's going to be the Canucks. I have a feeling. I have the hockey gods working on it, so we'll see. But is there too much pressure? It was funny because I said that's a lot of pressure to put on someone 21, 22 years old. And we brought McKenna up, and you went, he can handle it. And I was just like, he can handle it because he's been under pressure his whole entire life. Mendoza has felt that pressure his whole college career, and probably even back in high school, there was a lot of pressure on this kid. I love the story more than the pick because everybody knew Mendoza was going to go first. I'm not even an NFL fan, and that's all you heard was Mendoza. I like the story, how he said, no, I'm not going to Pittsburgh. Sorry, my mom can't handle that. And I want to be with my mom when my name's called. How cool is that? As a parent, that's got to be the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, well, I have some stories on that, and we got interrupted yesterday. I was going to give some more. Not everybody's in agreement with Fernando Mendoza staying home here in Miami for the draft when he went number 1 overall. They're just not saying it. And it reminds me of, I'll just say it, because what the hell, it's the Rod Pedersen show. He seems like a great kid, great family. His dad's the director of medicine with Baptist Health. I don't know if you saw any of the video. They had a party by the pool at his house. The kid's not hurting. He's going to be okay no matter what. But the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, Super Bowl 47, 48, I hosted Sober Bowl there with Lee Steinberg. That's where I got this thing on the wall behind me. Brandon Mitchell, Earl Campbell, and then Ryan Leaf didn't show up. He did it virtually via Zoom. Okay. And the organizers didn't really have a problem with it. And I'm like, okay, well, you just wait until the day of the event. And we got to the day of the event. People wanted photos. They wanted autographs. They wanted to meet the guys. Well, you couldn't do that with Ryan Leaf via Zoom. But what do I know? So anyways, the Mendoza thing, it's a nice story and all the rest. And that's where I would kind of like to talk about that with the viewers today is, is there too much are they putting too much pressure on this kid? You make a good point, though. He's used to pressure. People said I was putting too much pressure on Connor Bedard when he was 15 years of age. And I'm like, no, he can handle it. I mean, I don't know Mendoza as well, but I knew Bedard could handle it. And he did. So I'm sure Mendoza will be fine. But the other thing is, you said you didn't watch the draft, Kev. What did you watch television last night?
Did we watch Oh yeah, we did. We watched every Thursday night. We get on the couch, we put the recliner up, cuddle in, and watch Survivor. It's our thing. It's our guilty pleasure.
Oh, well, isn't that cute? Well, as producer Corey just barfed into his control deck there. Okay, no, it's all good. But listen, for those of us that did watch the NFL draft, I'll say this. I tuned in for the spectacle. It was everything that I expected. And actually, I got more than I expected because we all knew Mendoza was going to go number one. And there's things a little later on that I'll get into today, not with Kev. But Sean McVay, the coach of the Rams, was visibly upset that his general manager, Les Snead, took the quarterback, Ty Simpson. And that's the big story in the NFL today, that the coach is mad. I got thoughts on that. They think that he's mad. He didn't say he was mad, but in interviews, they kind of felt that he was. But the other thing was the players breaking down on their way to the podium. That got me. It really got me because the kids were trying to celebrate and be all that and be this gangsta, and then they started crying like little boys. And I'm like, I love it. I love it. And then the Dallas Cowboys, America's team. We had 2 picks in the first round, so Jarrah addressed that. And as much as my skin crawls every time I hear his voice, Kevin, my skin crawls from Jarrah. But he's still, that's my team. They got me. They got you. Always going to be, I'm a Dallas Cowboys. I'm a Cowboys. Who do we pick? And I'm looking up this safety story. Oh, yeah. So I get it. It runs deep. So, as soon as I saw that logo and the kid pulling on the cap, I'm like, hey, welcome to Cowboys Nation. Let's go. We'll be right back. It's the RP Show on a Football Friday, 902-518-3033. The Western Dodge text line is open. We'll be back in a moment. And WQVZ Radio.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikassis Developments Limited.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sastix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
All right, welcome back on a Football Friday. Proudly presented, the warm-up by our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Neil Chark out there, the official travel partner of the RP Show and the BC Lions. And Kev, listen, hey, I'm sitting here reading the comments from our viewers in the break, and I don't think are you reading the YouTube chat? Are you seeing it?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Oh, there's some funny, really funny stuff going in there. Everybody's pumped up and ready for a Football Friday here. And regarding... I'll try to get to as many of your comments as you can, but there's a ton here today. Brent from Saskatoon writes that he goes, anyone notice Roger Goodell sounded a little tipsy? The New Orleans Saints. Listen, just for a second, you got to understand something. You're on stage in front of, 10 million people on television, 350,000 in attendance. There's an echo in the room. You got earplugs in your ear, and I started howling because it reminded me of 1998-ish when Don Narcisse broke Ray Elgard's record at Taylor Field to become the Rough Riders all-time receptions leader, and Ron Clark, our chairman of the Rough Riders, is on the field, and he was like, ladies and all of a sudden people thought he was having a stroke. It was the echo of the stadium caught him, right? And they're like, did he get stung by a bee? Is he drunk? No, it's not easy to stand in front of a crowd. Oh, my God. So I just broke down laughing. Ron, to this day, regrets that. But anyways, one more thing on the football and the draft. Akeem, I can't remember his name now. Not Mendoza. The kid from the Miami Hurricanes. Messidor. Akeem Messidor from Ottawa went mid to late first round to the LA Chargers. I thought he was the highest Canadian to ever go. He's from Ottawa, and he's not. Somebody corrected me. They said Tony Mandarich went number 2 overall Canadian in the 80s to the Raiders, I believe. And were you following the NFL in the 80s? To be honest, Kev, I wasn't. I wouldn't even follow the CFL in the 80s, let alone, well, sort of, late 80s. But I was corrected on the Mandarich thing. Do you remember that?
Not at all. I mean, obviously, I was following the CFL. I lived blocks away from the old Empire Stadium. We used to go and sit on the grass underneath the scoreboard. It was great. Those were good times.
Right. It's good. Well, Tony Mandarich, which I should have known, I guess, but number 2 overall, highest Canadian ever drafted. And yes, thank you, Rob in Las Vegas. Akeem Messidor, I think it was 22nd overall to the Chargers. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in and he says, Kevin, your presence on Thursdays and Friday makes the RP show even better. Thank you. Clearly he wants something from you, Kev. Tony from Cochrane writes in. He says, what got me was Mendoza's dad had to put his wife's hand on Fernando just before the official announcement. That's how bad MS has got her. So, I mean, I kind of understand that. Carlos in Indiana says, there's always pressure on the first overall pick. You're the presumed best player, and you're expected to turn around a struggling franchise. I know, but we're in an age now where it's way, 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 way overhyped. The draft itself is overhyped. The pressure on the kid it's different than it used to be. That's all. We'll see if he can handle it. But anyways, I told you yesterday, and I don't know if you spent any time thinking about this, but we have a lot of CFL fans here today. It's the Canadian Hour of the show. I said, if you had an unlimited budget and you were the CFL and you wanted to make your draft a big deal, I'm going to ask you how you would do it. And for all of our viewers, while you're thinking about it and saying it, where would you put it? Where would you put it? And I'll start that with you. If you had an unlimited budget, you could do kind of what the NFL did, Kev. What would you do?
I would put it in the hands of Omar Doman. And no, that's not a homer talking. He knows how to put on an event. You look at Lions openers. They are an event. They sell that dome out. If it was me, I'd bring in a top name band to play prior to the actual draft. I would make it the biggest spectacle you've ever seen in the CFL. It would cost millions and millions of dollars, but it would put us on the map. People would be watching. Have the Rolling Stones, it wouldn't be the Rolling Stones, but a big name, and really make it an event. Make it in the evening that can't be missed. So you got to go to Vancouver, you got to go to Toronto. Anywhere else, maybe even Saskatchewan, but you're not going to get the 60,000 in Saskatchewan that you would in BC Place.
You might. You never know if you held it outdoors. You just never know. So it was my bad. I said if you had unlimited budget. So you went big. That's cool. You also copped out. I'm not asking Amar Doman. I'm asking you. You've been a fan of this league longer than he has. But I'm teasing you, of course. I'm teasing you.
I'm smart enough. I'm smart enough to know that where my limitations are, and I'd hand it to people that know better. Ooh.
Okay. It's fine. That's all good. Bill from the Queen City writes in, originally from Whitby. He goes, I agree with Kevin and put it in Regina. He didn't say that. He said Vancouver and Toronto. He didn't say Regina. What are you talking about, Bill? Oh, my God. Now, furthermore, they hear, but they don't listen. And I love Bill, but you didn't say Regina. You said you got to be Vancouver and Toronto. And I like the way you think. But here's the thing where me and the CFL don't necessarily, I want to say we don't get along would be a strong, but a phrase, but we don't see eye to eye. Because when they did the first ever CFL week, they brought it into Regina, and it was magnificent. There's no doubt. Warren Moon came in. They did a hot stove. They did a hot stove with all the coaches. My God, they nailed it. And then the next year they went to Winnipeg, and it was equally as good. And I was there. It was fantastic. And that's where we talk about this show being so big in Winnipeg with our viewers. I was walking the Manitoba Moose played a game that weekend of Mark's CFL week in Winnipeg. I went to the game with the sports doctor, and we were walking around the concourse at MTS Center, which it was called at the time, the home of the Winnipeg, and people were catcalling me, "You suck, Pedersen. Welcome to Winnipeg, Pedersen." And Dave's like, "Oh my God, they know you." I'm like, "I don't know why. I don't know why." But they did. But anyways, my point is they went to the two biggest CFL strongholds. Regina first, Winnipeg second. And it was great. And then COVID largely killed Mark's CFL week or whatever. It just went away. So I want to tell the young people, because we're getting old. I want to say it was like 92. They had the draft in Saskatoon at Centennial Auditorium, and I was there. And I sat in the crowd, and they paraded the picks onto the stage. Mike Sutherland was one. He does Ottawa Red Blacks radio now, and he played in the CFL. Now the GMs got up at the podium, and they made the announcement. There was like four. Gene Mikowski, I think, went. It might have been 94, whatever it was. I was living in PA, and I came down for it, and it was really great. But it never continued. But my thing is, because you never asked, Kev, but it is the RP show, what I would do is that, and I don't really care so much about the prospects. Nobody knows who Akeem Messidor is. They don't.
No.
He's the number one prospect for the CFL draft. Nobody even knew his name till this week. So bring in the alum. And you say Vancouver, why not? Sure. Put it in Vancouver. Toronto's got the longest history of pro football in North America. I would not be against having it in Toronto. I mean, my God, just having pinball stand on the stage for 2 hours is enough. But there's a lot of CFL alumni from Toronto that would love to be part of something like that. And who do the fans know? The alum.
The alum.
They don't know who the prospects are, right? That's what I would do.
You and I have talked about the alums and the CFL's lack of respect. I'll use that word. I'll call them out. Respect for the alum. Hell, I sat with an alum with BC. I can't believe his name's blank during the Grey Cup when we were in Vancouver, and he had to pay
Anton
for his
McKenzie.
Anton McKenzie, thank you. He had to pay for his own ticket.
I wasn't even there, and I remember.
Mm-hmm. I know, right?
Well,
your memory baffles me. Your memory baffles me how good it is. When you remember things from 1998 and you know exactly where you were, it just baffles my brain. But in the NFL, you wouldn't have an alum having to pay to get in. They treat them with respect. That's what the CFL has to get to.
We'll see. Now, I've been to multiple Super Bowls, so let's put it this way. Not every NFL alum gets in for free. It's funny because when I told you that I did this Super Bowl, the Sober Bowl at Super Bowl, the organizer said, yeah, you got to pay your own way here. And I said, oh, really? Is Chris Carter? Is Lee Steinberg? Is Earl? They're like, you're not Chris Carter. Correct. I'll get my own. I'll pay. I had to put it out there, right? But anyways, I made those friends, and it was big fun, and all the rest. Monty from Saskatoon writes it and says to bring it to Saskatoon, and that's the thing. The last time they had it anywhere that I knew of was in Saskatoon, and I was there, and it was a hell of a lot of fun. By the way, I said we're going to have a Hall of Fame debate here. The Saskatchewan Roughriders announced their Hall of Fame. We got a lot of CFL fans watching here, and Saskatchewan viewers. It's still our number one region for viewership. Riders announced their Plaza of Honor induction class this year. That's their Hall of Fame. It's Rob Bagg, receiver, 2008 to 2018. Dan Clark, 2009 to 2022. And Paul McCallum in the CFL from 1994 to 05 with the Riders, and then he bounced around a little after that. But I'll say this. The Riders took all the fun out of the debate. What are you laughing at?
He didn't bounce around after that. He went to BC and had a Hall of Fame career. Come on.
So as I said, he bounced around. Once you leave Saskatchewan, you bounce around. So they took the fun out of it by all these guys are Hall of Famers. There's no debate. And to be honest, it's like I love the Hall of Fame has always been my favorite debate. I've talked about it this week. The draft I've never really cared for. I don't really understand the hype, although I'm starting to get the hype. The NFL's made you believe you need to know what's going on. So everybody does. It's called marketing, it's called selling, it's lost on some leagues. Anyways, on the Hall of Fame thing, there is no debate. But I mean, I used to know the guys. I mean, I know the guys that are on the committee now. They're all new from my time there, and it's just funny because I would love to know what the criteria is for any Hall of Fame, whether it's the Rough Riders Hall of Fame or like what do the BC Lions do? Do you know what the Lions? That's your team. What do they do for a Hall of Fame?
They do the Ring of Honor around the dome. Wally went up there. Solomon Aluminum went up there last year. It was last year when Angela and I went to the game. So they do the same type of thing. I think pretty much every team does that same type of thing. It actually shocked me because I would have thought Paul McCallum was already on there for the Riders. So when you posted that out a couple of days ago, I think it was, Facebook. I read it and went, "Oh, he's not on there yet." I'm surprised.
Look, you're now living in Saskatchewan. You're going to figure some things out as we go. I mean, I've tried to tell you since we met in the summer of 2022. You don't listen. In Saskatchewan, we do things differently. And in the case of, I thought he would be in. Oh, why is he in? But some people need to die first before, and before other people can be put in. Like, if I'm not mistaken, Roy Shivers went in a couple of years ago. And I was saying this, I don't like Roy. He doesn't like me. It's totally fine. I believe he called Jim Hobson a pig. I think he called him a pig in the newspaper, right? The Riders had to wait for Jim to die before they put Shiv in the Plaza of Honor, which he shouldn't have gone in anyways. But again, so when I say that I kind of lost my love for Hall of Fames and the committee's different from my time, this year they got it right. That's my point. There's no debate. Dan Clark, Rob Bagg, Paul McCallum are all Hall of Famers. We'll have to get to these comments after. Rob in Vegas writes in, he says, we attended the NFL draft in Vegas in 2022. It's a total spectacle. So much fun. Arlen Bruce writes in, he says, RP, 26 years ago, my hometown team brought me in to continue my football dreams. Thank you, Kansas City Chiefs and Winnipeg Blue Bombers. It's great to see dreams come true. Arlen Bruce checking in for the party today. Football Friday continues right after this timeout. Mike Davis coming up in hour 2. We're live on Game Plus Television, podcast at WQVZ.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop, edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Pedersen Developments Limited.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, welcome back. It's Football Friday. We're on Game Plus TV. Kevin the Median's with us. Only one more segment. John Ohm has written in and says, Roy Shivers was one unique individual. You got a Roy story, Rod? Listen, I don't want to waste too much airtime on Roy Shivers, but this will entertain you. And if you want to know why we don't get along, he was the general manager of the Rough Riders from 2000 to 2006, and then he was fired. But, Kev, one day we were walking across the practice field. It was the old Taylor Field, and it was during practice. And I said, hey, Shiv, I got you coming on my show today at 5 o'clock. And the PR guy was right there, Tony Plater. And Shiv goes, I ain't going on your show. And I said, no, you got to come on my show. He goes, I ain't boosting your mother ratings off my back. And I said, actually, it's in your contract. You have to appear on my show once a month, and it's the last Monday of the month, and you haven't been on yet, so you're coming on at 5. And he goes, I don't care about my motherfucking contract. He pissed on the contract. He walked away. And I'm like, we're done. And he was fired like a week later. So there you go, John Ohm. You want any other stories? We're asking the viewers where you would have the CFL draft if you took it around like the NFL does. And 2, what's the greatest CFL jersey of all time? I don't even know how that came up. Kev says he's wearing his. That worked out pretty well. What do you laugh at? I didn't find it very funny, Kev, at the time. You like those stories or what?
I absolutely could sit for 2 hours and listen to you tell old football stories. It's when you're at your best. I just absolutely love them. Your accents, the facial expressions, everything you do when you're telling stories of old riders, it just makes my heart happy.
Well, then I get triggered and got to call my counselor for the rest of the day. Oh, and also, it was funny you say that, though, because I was thinking of when Janice was on the other day. Let's put it out there. I said to our mutual friend, I've been on the air 20,000 hours in my career. I've never been tongue-tied before till I was interviewing Janice the other day. And then I thought this morning, wait a minute, there was one other time. Wally Buono. I was tongue-tied interviewing Wally Buono. But for different reasons. He's a very intimidating man. Okay? A wonderful man. There's no two ways about that. But he's also very intimidating. Who's the most intimidating interview you've ever done now that you're in the business of the Hughes Sports Podcast?
Oh, my. That's, whew, boy. Probably somebody you wouldn't know, Quadrilli. Quads from the, I think he's with the Athletic, I think it's called, or maybe it's the Nation. He's inside Canuck guy, and Jake and I both have kind of followed him. And when he came on our show, both of us were like, it's him.
Okay.
So yeah, that would be up there. Maybe Millington as well.
Yeah.
When Sean came on, just because I'm such a huge fan of Sean Millington. By the time that interview was done, I was in awe of him because he's such a nice, gracious guy.
Yeah, Millie's a beauty. From the audience on what's the greatest jersey, Kirk in Toronto writes in, he says, hey, Rod, the 1980 or 88 Argonauts jersey for the win. How about any Argos jersey? I love the double blue. Oh, I love it so much. On the who is the highest Canadian ever drafted in the NFL draft, it was not Akeem Messador last night. Brad in the Bridge City writes, and he says, Tony Mandarich was drafted by Green Bay and made the cover of Sports Illustrated at the time. Enjoy your day. Like I said, I wasn't following the NFL then, was barely following the CFL, so thank you for the clarification. David, number 2 in Winnipeg, writes in and says, Akeem Messador is the highest Canadian on the defensive side of the ball ever chosen. So there you go. if you want to split hairs. But I'll say this. I watched his pro day on film. I saw the highlights of it at Miami, and I'm like, he did not look like a football player. He looked like a machine or an animal or maybe a combination of the two. This guy he's an animal. So it kind of affects the CFL draft, by the way, because he's the number one prospect for next Tuesday's CFL draft. And I don't think going 22 to the Chargers would you draft a guy like that if you were Ottawa and you have the number one overall pick?
Well, we talked to Coach about that on your show and at the Grey Cup, actually. And we were talking about the draft. And he said the CFL draft is probably the hardest draft in any professional sport because you're drafting people you might not have a chance at. So you actually have to really go deep when you're picking in the top 5, because all of a sudden that number one pick, if you're Ottawa, do you take him? I don't think you do, because what's the chances if he's going to play for you? You should be drafting somebody that you're confident that you could play.
Yeah, I get it. Well, but I mean, I'll be interested in the CFL draft because I've covered so many, and I'm still a fan of the league. But I'm not going to sit and promote it for them because, unfortunately, most people, for whatever reason, don't care, and it's evident. Other than TSN's going to air the first 2 rounds, and the rest will be on TSN Plus, so that's good from TSN. But as far as the league goes, they don't really want to make a big deal out of it, or else they would. I mean, it's part of the thing is it would be too hard, so why try? On the jersey thing, John Ohm says Memphis Mad Dogs. He's mentioned that a few people have said Memphis Mad Dogs. I guess if we really want to get right down to it, I really love the Birmingham Barracudas. Like, what are your memories of the 90s CFL, 94, 95, 96, with those U.S. teams? It was such an awesome time. And the league has said to me, I've said it many times, they're like, Rod, stop talking about it. Why?
Why are they trying to bury what I think was probably one of the greatest periods of the CFL? You get... Who was it that won the cup? I'm trying to... my mind's got blank with this cold I have.
The Stallions. Baltimore.
The Stallions uniform. My goodness. I would hang that up on my wall. That was a cool looking uniform.
Yeah, for sure. They beat Calgary at Taylor Field. But yeah, and trust me, I get it, man. I've had a cold for 3 weeks, and it's not like it's anything heroic here sitting talking sports every day for 2 hours, but it's like your mind's just gone. It's the worst. I said my neighbor and I, former neighbor Gail and I went for lunch or supper the other night, and he goes, maybe it was COVID. He's from France. And I'm like, maybe it is COVID. I don't know. Doesn't matter now. Okay. Rob in Vegas says Messidor likely will not be drafted in the CFL, will never play north of the border. Well, producer Corey just says it sounds like a dish, COVID. Now, he had a chunk of saran wrap in his lasagna, the size of a baseball. And they tried to convince him that it was an onion skin. I'm like, I'm going to stay out of this. I'm going to let Gail handle it. But yeah, that was here in Boca Raton. Yeah. What do you got, Kev, before I let you go here? We got a few minutes, but not a lot. What's up for the weekend?
Baseball and more baseball. I'm becoming addicted to watching baseball, and I'm loving it. I had a friend. We had another couple come over for the last game. Yesterday, the day before. Yesterday was an off day. And we just had a blast sitting, drinking, believe it or not, drinking tea and watching baseball. If someone would have told me I'd be in Saskatchewan drinking tea and watching baseball and having a blast, a year ago, I would have laughed at them. But here I am, loving it. So, yeah, it's a baseball weekend.
Come to Florida. They do it all the time. Drink tea, watch baseball, go to bed. It's a Florida thing. Well, I'll tell you what, I was telling somebody the other day, they said everybody out. Well, they just kind of stopped asking, but people are like, why do you love Florida so much? The other day I was standing out front of my place, and I'm like, smells like sea salt and suntan lotion. That was just the waft on the air. Like, what? You've been here, Kev. You've been here enough. You know, it's the greatest place. Well, I believe it's the greatest place in the world. And it's not just baseball, but a lot of people love to watch baseball and drink tea. What?
Yeah, well, I'm going to go stand outside, and it's a blizzard outside, and I'm going to freeze my nose hairs. So you just think about that as you're smelling your suntan lotion.
Trim your nose hairs. There's a lot of people here that could take that advice. Manscaped actually has a tool for that. Use the promo code RP20 at manscaped.com. Have a good weekend, Kev. Fun as always.
We'll
be right back here on Game Plus TV and WQVZ.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We got like one topic into the Quick Six Show topic, so we can get through them all here or continue to have fun with you and the viewer comments. Maybe we'll do both. But the warm-up is brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel Group and Neil Chark and his fantastic crew out there, the preferred travel partner of the RP Show and the BC Lions. There's been a lot of BC Lions talk here in hour one. You're welcome. When it comes to sports, trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Point 2 of the quick 6 was simply last night's Stanley Cup Playoffs. I was 2 for 3 in picks. I didn't have Buffalo winning at Boston, but they did 3-1, and it looked like they firmly had control of that game. Bruins down 2-1 to the Sabres now in that series. Carolina beat Ottawa 2-1. I called that one. Hurricanes up 3-0, and also correctly picked Colorado over the LA Kings in Game 3. It was 4-2 was the score for the Avalanche. They lead the series 3-0. Our picks are brought to you by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jack's Cathedral, and Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. The only reason I point out whether I'm right or wrong is because I'm trying to stay above the 60% line. That's what my betting friends tell me. I could have a job selling NHL picks based on my numbers. I won't do it, but I could. Point 3 was the Hall of Fame debate, which I think we've kind of debated that. This in no way is obviously a criticism of the Rough Riders. I'm just saying they took all the fun out of the debate of this year's Plaza of Honor class of Rob Bagg, Dan Clark, and Paul McCallum because they're all Hall of Famers. It's easy. So congratulations to those guys. Oh, the poll question, by the way, is brought to you by Country Thunder, and it's simply, I got to refresh this page to see what it's at. The poll question is, are you following the NFL draft? And I can't find it. Do you have the means, producer Corey, to tell me what the poll is at? Yeah, there you go. You put it up on the screen. So that's the main thing. Hang on, everybody. Hang on. Oh, we got so much good stuff here. Corey's going to find it. The poll question is for Country Thunder. Are you following the NFL draft? The biggest party of the summer coming to Craven Sass, July 9th to the 12th, featuring Lainey Wilson and Creed. Get your tickets now at countrythunder.com/SK. Just $20 down secures your weekend pass. Just jump in with it, Corey, at any time with what it is. It's a yes from me. It's a definite no from Kevin the Medium, who is watching Survivor with his honey, and that's cool too. We're asking what's the greatest jersey in the Canadian Football League. I don't even know how or why it came up, but Vintage Sasko writes in. He says, hey, Uncle Rod and Full House Hughes, the Riders retros put hair on my chest and adrenaline in my veins. GOAT jerseys. They are pretty nice. There's no doubt. The nicest jersey in the CFL is going to be a Rider jersey, in my opinion. That's got to decide which one it is. I am a big fan of the Obsidian ones, but I would not want to call games of them and that. You can't see the numbers. Wow. Jason in Red Deer says 57% say no, they're not following the NFL draft. I literally don't know, number one, how you couldn't. Mind you, Kevin's not. And number two, maybe that's why they're here watching this show. Jeremy in Winnipeg writes in and he says, is that Miami jersey there for a thank you since they traded back so the Cowboys could draft Caleb Downs? It's here because it was on sale at Walmart. If I'm going to be of interest of full disclosure, it was on. Listen, I'm cheap. Everybody knows that. So I'm always looking for a good bargain. And this Tyreek Hill jersey hit the bargain bin. Even as it was $50 at Walmart. You want to see what these jerseys are now? Paying US dollar? Nope. But I was keeping my eye out because I like that dolphin teal. To be honest, I think this, without question, is the nicest NFL jersey. You can take the Country Thunder thing off the screen, Corey, if you don't mind. But you don't see me wearing a lot of Cowboy stuff because I don't love their colors. I don't love them. I got a few hats and stuff, and you don't ever see me wear hats. I got $30,000 invested in this dome. I'm not wearing a hat to cover it up. 902-518-3033. It is the Canadian hour of the RP show today. I feel like that's why a lot of you showed up. Ryan in upstate New York writes in and says, Jeff Reinbold, who incidentally was at the NFL draft last night. I saw his coverage if you follow him on social media. He says, Jeff Reinbold told a wild story about Meyer during his coaching days in Vegas on my podcast. He was a great interview. Let me guess, was the story this? That they were coaching the Las Vegas posse and they were practicing in the parking lot of the Sahara Hotel, which is, by the way, a true story. And Ron Meyer was the head coach and Reinbold was his young special teams assistant. and Ron Meyer was on a heater at the craps table in the Riviera. And so Reinbold comes up to me. He's like, hey, coach, we got to go. Practice is at 2 o'clock. He's like, you go run it, son. I'm on a roll. Was that the story? There are a few. They held a news conference to announce the team, and it featured midgets and strippers. I feel like we don't have to dig too far to realize why the CFL doesn't want to remember that era of their history. Just saying. Talking about being sick. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta writes in. He says, I just got over that head, chest, cold, Rod. Sorry to tell you, it took me a month and a half, but I'm a lot older than you. Yeah, I'm doctored up. I haven't taken medicine. I'm just go away. I've taken it for a while. It was very hard to get through at the start. What a pain. Oh, well, could be worse. Rob in Vegas writes that he says, Matt Dunnigan in a Birmingham Barracudas jersey is iconic. Right? That's a great. I'm just a fan of teal, like overall, or whatever they call, whatever that color was that the Birmingham Barracudas were. The jersey was almost identical, right, to the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's Football Friday. That's why we're doing this. John writes and he says, the UFL and the CFL should partner. Hang on. I don't feel like starting a holy war today, a jihad. But what I will say is this. I got this news release today. I was saving it for the show. Thank you for the reminder. This is from the United Football League. And it says, the UFL announced today that the 2026 United Bowl will be played at Audi Field on Saturday, June 13th, with the championship game airing on ABC. The Audi Field is in Washington, D.C. The United Bowl marks a new era for the league, establishing a unified championship identity as the top teams compete for the title. There's a spelling error in the news release. It says complete for the title. I think they mean to say compete for the title. Tickets for the 2026 United Bowl will go on sale May 1st. Again, it's Football Friday. That's why we're talking football products here. The UFL, through no fault of their own, lost me. As you've noticed, Kevin and I aren't doing our picks anymore. I'm sticking with the NHL picks for the UFL. Why would I pick the guy? I can't even name any of the players. I tried. You can't say I didn't try. Very similarly to soccer. I tried. Just too much else going on that I'm interested in. I'm not going to force it. And by the way, how do you just announce where your championship game is a couple of weeks before the game? BW from Edmonton writes in and says, the Baltimore Stallions had a great jersey. Right, that was mentioned earlier by, I think, Kev. Ryan in upstate New York says, yep, that was the story. Ron Meyer getting on a heater at the craps table, missed practice. Jeff the Stamps fan says, I bet it's easier recovering in Florida than Alberta. Largely, yes. But you also feel guilty sitting inside all day when you got 27 degrees outside. It's like, what am I doing here? You feel like a waste. At least when it's 40 below outside, or even snowing, you aren't expected to go outside. But it's funny because Paul Maurice, it was just a week ago that the Panthers played their last game and had their year-end news conference. And Paul Maurice, the head coach, said that he said, what are you going to do, coach, for the next month or so? And he goes, I'm just going to be a Florida guy. As he stood there in a golf shirt, shorts, and sandals. And I'm like, he's going to find out how awesome it is. What'd I tell you? The smell of sea salt and suntan lotion on the air. That's what you smell. It's a great, great, great place. I love it. I think that's evident to everybody. And the best part is they seem to like me. That's even better. That helps. That helps. That helps. Let me roll the sports update and the end of the quick six together. The Toronto Blue Jays are back in action tonight against Cleveland after an off day. Max Scherzer is scheduled to start for the Blue Jays. Toronto is 10-14 on the young baseball season. They're at Cleveland. The Guardians are tied with Detroit atop the American League's Central Division standings. The Toronto Raptors are right back in their first-round NBA playoff series against Cleveland. Scotty Barnes had a career playoff high, 33 points in Toronto's 126-104 playoff win Thursday night. The Cavaliers have a 2-1 lead in the best-of-7 series after winning the first two on their home court. Sports Update brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone and Suds. Are you stuck for gift ideas? Suds gift cards. Available online at our location or at Costco. They're the ultimate for anyone who loves a clean ride. Visit sudsregina.com. And by the way, Mike Davis coming up for the Vegas Nighthawks in hour 2. Brought to you by Prairie Panels. Are you building a shop, a barn, a rink, or commercial space? Prairie Panels provides high-quality insulated wall and roof panels designed for durability and energy efficiency. Visit prairiepanels.ca or call 1-306-985-0050. We'll keep the fun football talk going on a Football Friday when we come back after this timeout and we join the Nevada viewers. Get your questions and comments in. 902-518-3033 is the Western Dodge text line, and we'll be back in a flash here on Game Plus TV, podcast, and WQVZ.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Well, this is it. Or as Huey Lewis sings, if this is it. This is it. You found the place. Football Friday on the RP Show. We welcome Nevada viewers on Silver State Sports. And, of course, hello again to those as we plunge into Hour 2 here on Game Plus Television, where we're broadcasting across Canada and 33 states. Hello. I tell you what, 53, I don't mind saying how old I am, 53 years on this green ball, half blue, and I'm still learning things and still surprised by things. I say nothing surprises me, but that's not true. I'm surprised at the results of our vote today. Let's get right down to it, because it's a Football Friday. Our poll question today for Country Thunder Saskatchewan is, are you following the NFL draft? And between Twitter, Instagram, and wherever else we have this poll, over 50% are saying no, they're not following the NFL draft. And I just kind of sit there and go, what the hell are you doing then? But we will be talking about it with Mike Davis, who will be joining us next from the Vegas Nighthawks. Home game week for that indoor football league team. The former Virginia Tech Hokie spent 5 years in the Canadian Football League with the Argos and the Riders. Mike Davis joining us to talk ball in the next segment. But let's get down to business. I think you're lying or you're smoking something. You're not following the NFL draft. Give me a break. Number 1, Fernando Mendoza hopes to make the Las Vegas Raiders a contender. He was the first overall pick in the NFL draft Thursday night. The Heisman Trophy winner led Indiana to its first national championship, of course, in January. The LA Chargers selected Canadian defensive lineman Akeem Mesador with the 22nd overall pick. Now, he's from the Miami Hurricanes. And the one thing that's actually made my life a lot easier that we've learned from our Nevada viewers is they like the Canadian injection into this show because it's different from everywhere else. All the other shows everywhere. And so a couple of things on this. Vegas's other Mike Davis that hosts the Las Vegas Daily Sports Show at 2 p.m. on Silver State Sports. I saw him. He's all over the place. And Mariah Janos, his co-host, all over Vegas, getting excited about the draft. And obviously Mendoza, he's got his face painted. This is the host, Mike Davis. And I saw him say, he's going to say, he's the savior of the Raiders. I'm not a football guy first, that's for sure. Mike Davis, the other Mike Davis is who joins us next from the Vegas Nighthawks. But is there too much pressure being put on this kid, number one overall? I don't know, man. I feel like from a maturity standpoint, if anybody can handle it, it's Fernando Mendoza. But oh my God, the expectations are sky high. Now, yesterday in this space, Brian Snow joined us, the snowman from Snowman in the Morning, WQVZ. And he said, this kid is worthy of the hype. So let's see how it all turns out. He certainly looks the part. But the other interesting thing from Thursday, there was a lot of interesting things. My TV remote was going back and forth. It was hovering between Stanley Cup Playoffs, which we get every night, and that's fantastic. Everybody knows if you want to find Rod in the evenings in the spring, where are you going to find him? He'll be watching hockey. But it was hovering back and forth between the draft and the hockey, and it settled on the draft because, to be honest, it was just too much theater and drama, and Mendoza by the pool at his home here in Miami, and everybody, all his family there, and the whole neighborhood was there. And that looked great. But the other thing was the LA Rams war room, where the Rams took Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson at number 13. This was in a draft where people thought Mendoza would be the only quarterback taken in the first round, and at 13, the Rams jump up and take Ty Simpson. And just so you all know, for the over 50% of you that aren't following the NFL draft, I'll tell you a little story, and then I will get to hockey, because I know that's why a lot of people are here. Supposedly, the pundits are saying that Sean McVay, the coach of the Rams, was upset about this pick that they took Ty Simpson. I don't know whether that's true or not. I watched the clip of the coach, Sean McVay, and then I listened to it this morning on NBC Sports Radio, and one thing that I've learned the hard way, but also from the textbooks, don't assume what somebody else is thinking. Don't assume, period. But don't assume what somebody else is thinking. But the pundits are all, he seems upset, Sean McVay, that they took the quarterback. So here's the interesting thing, and this actually rolls into the Vrabel stuff, which is point 1B of the Quick Six show topics for Uniglobe, Carefree Travel Group, and Neil Chark. Why are the coaches even talking about this? Because I'll relate this to hockey. Very dear friend of mine, his family watches this show every day, Lorne Mulliken, was the head coach of the Chicago Blackhawks. But before that, he was the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers' top American Hockey League team in Cape Breton. He told a story, 1995 NHL draft, Lorne's first draft in the Oilers organization. They were sitting hem and haw on a pick, like in the 6th round. And it was at Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton. I was there, but just not on the draft floor. And Lorne, the coach of the minor league team, walked up to the scouting department at the end of the table and said, "Oh, if you're looking who to take, this guy's still available. You should take him." And they're like, "Hey, Lorne, go sit down. We'll handle it." Oh, coach's input is not generally not welcome at the draft. So, which rolls into this. Point 1B. Head coach Mike Vrabel says he's taking accountability for actions that have created a distraction for the New England Patriots. He says he is prioritizing family by beginning counseling this weekend. Vrabel did not address specifics about published photos of him with longtime NFL reporter Diana Rossini, who's incidentally resigned from her job at The Athletic because of this scandal, and then has, as of last night, deleted her Twitter account, 500,000 followers. Bye-bye. Again, I saw a pundit say this is going to be very hard for her to rebuild her career in the media with deleting her Twitter account and 500,000 followers. Thanks, Tips. Thanks for the breaking news. I think we're all aware of that. So the other day when Chris Sims was saying, is this a PR move that Vrabel's going to make draft for counseling? Yeah, because the counseling center wasn't open on Sunday, so he had to go. Like, of course it's a PR move. He's not even needed at the draft is the whole point. And I guess what shocks me is that they're interviewing Sean McVay at all from the war room about them taking Ty Simpson. If there's stories of coaches and general managers not being on the same page at draft day could fill a book or two, and they're great stories. Speaking of draft day, I like Kevin Costner far more as the general manager of the Cleveland Browns in draft day than I do as John Dutton in Yellowstone. Now, I love John Dutton of Yellowstone, don't get me wrong, but I really loved Kevin Costner as the GM of the Cleveland Browns. I feel like he should be the GM of the Cleveland Browns. I'm just saying. 902-518-3033. Tony from Cochrane writes in. He says, I was watching the NFL Network's feed of the draft. Was there a Mel Kiper sighting on ESPN? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think he got himself a new pair of glasses. And it's been all Mel. It's Mel SPN really this weekend. Again, what I say, 53 years on this spinning ball. I'm still learning things. One is, why can some guys say things and get away with it and others get nailed to the wall? I don't know why that is, but Mel Kiper's one. He put the Mel in meltdown. Remember day 3, Saturday of the NFL draft last year when Shadir Sanders slipped round 5 to Cleveland? And he lost his mind and said NFL GMs haven't known what they've been doing for 40 years. Okay, Mel, just let's take this away. I thought that was the last day that he'd ever be on ESPN. But we were mentioning prior to the end of hour one, I'll mention it here, that the UFL, United Football League, has announced their championship game will be played in Washington May 6th. Robin writes in from the gateway to the north. He says, it sounds like the UFL executive makes decisions with a coin flip. I feel like you would be surprised how many leagues do that. But, I mean, naming where your championship game is going to be played a week before you play it, it's a choice. Chief Johnny Moe, I'll handle who comes in and out. I'll handle who goes on the show and who doesn't, but thanks. 902-518-3033. By the way, I said I would get to hockey. Stanley Cup Playoffs from Thursday night. 3 games. I went 2 for 3 on picks. That's in the money. Buffalo Sabres over Boston 3-1. Sabres take a 2-1 series lead. Carolina over Ottawa 2-1. The Hurricanes take a 3-0 lead. In Colorado over the LA Kings 4-2. The Avalanche take a 3-0 series lead. I guess let's do the picks now. What the hell? For Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jack's Cathedral, and Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. What do we got? Tampa Bay at Montreal. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. I think I'll give this one to Montreal and game 4 to Tampa, but we're only talking about today here. So it's ole, ole, ole. Vegas at Utah. For anybody paying attention, it's the first ever Stanley Cup playoff game in Salt Lake City history, or NHL history, for those who observe. I got to go Vegas. I'm going to go Vegas. And Edmonton at Anaheim, man, listen. Ask your local Oiler fan. I'm sure they have no more or better idea than I do. I think Edmonton, but can I say it depends on how they play, Tom? Because nobody has any idea. I've loved breaking down these playoffs, and believe me, I've been on a lot of U.S. shows talking about them. And granted, we're only 2 or 3 games into some series. This is game 3 of the Oilers-Ducks series, so we try not to make too many generalizations, but playoff experience has meant absolutely nothing so far in these Stanley Cup playoffs. Yes, for the live viewing audience, it's 111. That's what I was looking for. 111 for those that observe and those that need it. Visualize a positive ending and also visualize the person that you want to be and live there and let everybody else catch up. It does work, believe me. 902-518-3033. Jason in Red Deer writes in and says, what happened to the phone number jingle with the Aussie lass, Rod? Guy, that was like a year ago. Please move on. NHL last night we did. NHL tonight we just did 3 games tonight. Tampa at Montreal, as I say. Vegas at Utah. Edmonton at Anaheim. All those series are 1-1. They also tell me that they do like the CFL talk here in hour 2, if we keep it brief, on the Silver State Sports Network. So what we were talking about was a couple of things. Number 1, their draft is Tuesday night, and probably will not see the number 1 prospect, Akeem Messador of the Miami Hurricanes, be drafted at all. I would be shocked if they did after he went in the first round of the LA Chargers last night. But who knows? That's what makes watching the CFL draft interesting. I was saying, for the benefit of those that are watching in Canada right now on Game Plus TV, if the CFL were to do a draft like the NFL, what city would you put it in first? And they've done it before. They did it in Saskatoon. I was at the very last one they did that. It was I loved it. Fans showed up. The players were there. It was great. It was the last one 30 years ago. And before that, Calgary. But our Hour 1 co-host, Kevin the Medium, said Vancouver or Toronto. And I'm not opposed to that. Do it somewhere. Do it on the moon, for the love of God, for all I care. Just do it. And I have no idea how or why this came up, but I was asking the viewers, what's the greatest CFL jersey of all time? And my God, that is a beautifully deep rabbit hole that you can go down for a very long time. Rick in Martinsville writes in and he says, early 80s Rider jerseys with the stripes on the shoulders and sleeves. I do love the obsidian green jerseys, but as you said, you can't read the numbers. Please never do the 2001 black again. Those black Rough Riders jerseys were the number 1 selling jerseys of all time. And I still have one. Watch your mouth. David number 2 writes in. He's watching in the Slurpee capital. He says, I tried watching the UFL and quickly realized it was great sleep therapy. I'm with you. I tried. Point 4, the Toronto Blue Jays are back in action Friday night against Cleveland after an off day Thursday. Max Scherzer scheduled to start for the 10-14 Blue Jays. Point 5, the Toronto Raptors are right back in their first-round NBA playoff series against Cleveland. Scotty Barnes had a career playoff-high 33 points in Toronto's 126-104 win Thursday night. The Cavs have a 2-1 series lead, obviously after winning the first 2 games on their home court. Later on this hour, we'll get to tonight's NBA games and whatever else is on the sports docket, but we're going to step aside. Get your football questions in. For the football guy of all football guys, Mike Davis joins us from Las Vegas next. 902-518-3033 is the text line for Western Dodge. Are you ready for a new ride? Head to Western Dodge where the deals are real and the service is legendary. You're watching the RP Show across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across Canada and 33 states on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, podcast, and WQVZ Radio.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
RP Show continues here on Silver State Sports and Game Plus TV. It's been fun all day. We ain't stopping the fun now as Mike Davis joins us from the Vegas Nighthawks down there in Henderson. You're on, Mike. You got an itch that we're going to scratch talking football here, Coach. Hey, I got all my Major League of Indoor Football questions ready to go and some CFL and UFL stuff too. But being the football guy that you
I'm
are,
ready.
what was your take on round one of the NFL draft last night? Please tell me. I'm dying to know.
I think the Cardinals are going to ruin Jeremiah Love because they needed more O-line help than anybody, right? It's just my personal opinion. I think Tampa Bay got a steal with Bain. That should have been earlier. I think he was a top 5 pick, no doubt about it, because you look at him, nobody's done more in the playoff push in big games than that guy. I think you touched on it a little bit. I think it was very entertaining to watch Sean McVay's reaction to taking Ty Simpson, number 13, when you knew they wanted a playmaker to help Matthew Stafford. I think that's where it's, and I think you said it. You have to be on the same page with head coach and GM and how you're structuring your game. And if you're not, you get your wires crossed and stuff like that happens.
Well, give me some stories to the degree that you can. Like, look at Dallas. Brian Schottenheimer, he ain't ever anywhere even near the draft board or the microphone. He's not part of this. Most coaches aren't, Mike. Come on. And maybe I'm wrong, but it's been my experience they're not.
No, I think that they have input. But again, with that being said, I thought the Cowboys had a fantastic draft. I think the Giants had a better one, but the Cowboys addressed the needs that they needed to address. And that was fantastic for them, right? I mean, what Harbaugh and them were able to do in New York is mind-boggling.
Explain why, please.
Well, just you get the offensive tackle, you get the defense, the best defense, probably one of the top 2 best defensive players in the draft, all in the first round. You literally solidified 2 starters in areas of need that you had to have that were terrible for you. With a young quarterback, with Malik Neighbors, with Scatabo, like you have a ton of weapons, and you just made your offense better.
We have a lot of viewers in the tri-state area that'll be very happy to hear you say that. So thank you for the analysis. But you're sitting there in Vegas. We got more viewers in Vegas. Tell me what that town is going through. Right. You knew that Mendoza was going to be the guy, but now he officially is. What's that city going through?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a process, right? Like he's in the perfect scenario. You come in, you learn behind Kirk Cousins, whether it's a year, 2 years, whatever, and you don't have to worry about anything. You literally just get to learn how to be a pro, right? And you can develop and you can get better and you can get better. And I think what Spytech and them have done, free agency now draft. I'm interested to see what they do, the next 2 days, because they got a lot of picks, and I know they were. Rumor has it they were trying to move back into the first round to get an offensive lineman. But it's just the ask was so much for some of those guys. It's from what you're hearing, it's crazy.
Well, I'll tell you what, you've been in Vegas long enough to know what the fans are like in that town. Like one of the hosts on this channel, the other Mike Davis of Silver State Sports, he's saying Mendoza's the savior of the Raiders. I'm like, he ain't even going to play, bro. What's the pressure going to be to get this guy on the field in year one?
If they're losing early, the pressure will build, right? But if they're winning, they won't even think about it because winning cures everything. That's the whole Raiders way. Just win, baby. You take that mantra and you run with it. And if they do what they should do, right? I'm not saying they're winning the Super Bowl. But they will be competitive this year. I mean, they got 7 starters in free agency, secured up and ready to run. So when that happens, it's easy to turn a team around. Right now, those guys come in, they change the culture a little bit with it's already been happening, and you were able to keep Max, and who knows?
I know. Isn't it going to be fun? But they're in a division with the Chiefs that are going to be pissed off. the Denver Broncos, who won the conference last year, and the Chargers, who are they're in the playoffs every year. They don't ever really do anything. So listen, we'll come back to the NFL stuff, because when I said I did my little research here, you guys are 3-1, right? The Nighthawks. You're the third-ranked team in the league, and you got a home game Saturday night, and I can't say the name of the team you're playing Saturday night at the Lee's Family. How do you say that name?
The Chupacabras.
What is that?
It's a mythical wolf in New Mexico that they literally has been a thing for years. That people used to see. They used to call them the Chupacabra, like on the mountain, on the horizon and stuff like that. And that's just what they call it. I don't know. I call them the Chupies.
The Chupies. Okay, the Chupacabras are in there 6 p.m. Saturday night to take on Mike Davis and the Vegas Nighthawks, and you guys are third ranked in the coaches poll that I saw. I'm enjoying the highlights. Who does your social media, man? They're doing a great job.
Yeah. They kind of tag team it with the Silver Knights people. It's all hands on deck. They get Silver Knights. We have 2 people. The Silver Knights has 2 people, and then they collab together. So Nick and Megan and Kelly and Brian, they do a good job.
Well, everybody, go give Mike Davis a follow on Instagram and the Vegas Nighthawks, and you'll see the highlights. Got some very exciting things going in there. It looks like the season's going great so far, from what I see.
Yeah, I mean, our offense is clicking. I think our offense hasn't been stopped in 2.5 games almost. Last week we had 9 possessions, 9 touchdowns. It's puts a lot of pressure on people when your offense is clicking this early. And they want to be great, right? I mean, we're the highest scoring team in the league. We want to keep it that way. And, when you're scoring points, it puts a lot of pressure on opposing teams, offensively and defensively. And it's allowed our young defense to kind of catch stride and figure out, where the water line is to come up for air, right? Like they're just looking up right now. Like I don't see an end in sight, but they've slowly started to figure it out, and we're getting better.
Who's the offensive genius behind that? You're a defensive guy, last I knew.
Yeah, I probably have the best offensive mind in the game, and Curtis Chin. Young man played for me, has been a head coach before. Didn't like being a head coach for where he was in the past, and surround yourself with great people, and the things work. You can do some magic and things work out great.
Robin in the Gateway to the North writes that he says, I would love to see arena football live. I wonder if there is an appetite for it in Canada. I don't know. We've talked about that for years as a guy that's worked in Canadian football for years. I don't know. But, Mike, give us your best pitch to go buy a ticket to watch arena football in any of these cities that you're in. There's a lot.
Yeah, I think it's if you like football and you like hockey, and it's a mixture of both, right? It's like fast break football. Right, there's never a lull. It's fast paced, back and forth, and it's the closest you'll ever get to a player on the field. Right, think the hockey, you're sitting on the glass seats. Well, in football, the glass seats, there's just no glass. Right, and that's the best thing about our platform is you can watch all our games on Yahoo Sports and things like that. So you can watch us live anywhere. And if you want to see a game, it's very easy to get to. And like our tickets are affordable. It's $20.
What's your injury quotient to games? Because I've seen some hella injuries in arena football, man. It's just guys forget. Those boards are like right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think we preach prehab, not rehab, right? And there's a lesson going into it of, hey, listen, when you're approaching the board, you can't think about it, but this is how you hit it. This is what you need to do. And offensively, it's more offensive minded than anything because they're the ones going over the boards, catching the football and stuff. But it's harder. It's a little bit of a learning curve, right? And some guys get it, and some guys just take it and run. And then some guys, you can't. The outdoor motto, you can't just catch the ball, toe tap, and get out of bounds. No, there's a wall right there. If you do that, you'll end up in the second row.
Right, which I've seen. It's not like it doesn't happen. By the way, one of the beautiful things with Mike Davis of the Vegas Nighthawks is we can talk all levels of football. And there are, for whatever reason, a lot of UFL fans watch this show. So just this morning, they announced their championship game is going to be at Audi Stadium in Washington, May 6th. That's like in in a couple of weeks. They just announced that. Can you explain the business model of the UFL and where that league's at right now?
You know, I think Rapoli's done a great job. I think he's still trying to figure it out, right? Obviously, DC has a passionate fan base, so it makes sense. And DC's, I think they're 3-1, I believe. So they'll probably, they have a good shot to be in it. Just kind of go from there. But I as far as announcing it right now, it's a little late to the game.
Okay, then it's not just me. I'm reading the news release going, wait a minute, this is this year? Oh, okay, in just a couple weeks' time. But you know what? St. Louis has the team, the Battle Hawks. They've always had a team in there. And as you know, our good friend Corey Chamlin's the defensive coordinator. How's the UFL going over in St. Louis? It always seems to be going over pretty well.
Fans love it. Ever since they lost the Rams, like those fans are so passionate. Hey, they want, and I think they're first or second in the league in attendance, I believe. I haven't been following the attendance reports as much this year just because I've been so busy. But they got some talent. I think that all these first year head coaches are going through it right now in the UFL. You look at St. Louis, you look at AJ at Birmingham and Redmond in Louisville, and you see some of Ted Ginn in Columbus. Like those four guys are getting trial by fire. I mean, and obviously, Prohl's got it. Chamberlain's great because he's been a head coach. He's been a CFL winning great head coach, right? So it makes life a little easier because I don't know how much they listen to him, but he at least has been there and done it, right? So you're not like you look at Birmingham and that staff is all new. Like nobody's been there and done it at a higher level. So I just think it's who you surround yourself with, and can you put your ego aside and listen to somebody who maybe has some input to help you out.
Like any football league, right? To be honest, you would hope the guys do. Your boy Chris 1326 writes in. He says, Coach D, you'll see what a physically dominant ball team looks like real soon. We getting into this now? Who's he with again? The Pirates?
He loves the Orlando Pirates. He's a diehard fan. Good kid. He just, they got other things to worry about. He's worried about us May 19th. He needs to worry about his team plays tonight in Green Bay, which should be a good game. So we'll see if he's still chirping tomorrow.
Yeah, just talking smack, of course. Now, I said all the other leagues. So the number one prospect in the CFL draft, Akeem Messador, goes last night 22nd overall to the Chargers from the Miami Hurricanes. Can you talk about that? Like, is it a relief to you to not have to worry about the CFL draft anymore? Because that thing is such a dog's breakfast more than any league for that exact reason and a lot of other reasons.
Yeah, I think that for a guy like Akeem, like he wasn't ever thinking about the CFL, right? Like he's just not doing it. It goes back to when I was up there in SAS. The name that keeps popping up that people love is David Onyemata. He's with the Saints. Yeah. He's been in 3 different NFL. He's never coming to the CFL. Never, right? Akeem Messador would be the same thing. Unless he gets a tragic injury, something like that. Like it's just not going to happen, right? And those guys don't even think about it. Because think about the guys made $7 million already in college. I mean, that's what people don't realize. Like 5-10 years ago, get those guys to, you know what? You can come up here and play. Now if they're smart, think they've invested their money. They're not doing it. They're not. And I think that, for him to fall to 23 was crazy. But again, I said that about Ruben Bain falling to 13 to Tampa. Like, yeah, I thought he was a top 5 pick for sure. But hey, what do I know?
That's what makes it everybody's shocked. Everybody's shocked. But Messador is an animal. No, I'm totally with you. But honestly, Mike, I mean, you and I, we don't talk generally on the air. I would say this to you over the phone. Those guys that do the CFL rankings for the draft, they got to go by the talent. Like they're doing the right thing, right? Messador is the best Canadian available, period. I don't know how you would not do that the way they do it.
Yeah, I mean, like think about this, right? There's a kid in this year's CFL draft, Eric Roscoe, I believe is his name, that played in the indoor league last year from St. Angelo State. He's a linebacker, 6'3", 225. Not sure if he went to combine or not. I know that some teams had reached out to me to get some film links to him and stuff like that, and that I gave him access to. And that kid's going to be a special teams demon in the CFL. Mark my words. And in the right situation, he'll get himself into a positional role or maybe a starting role being a Mike linebacker, whoever's playing a Canadian Mike linebacker, right? But that kid is just scratching the surface. The sky's the limit because he can run and he's physical. Like if you take a Micah Tights and a Tanner Green and put them together.
Oh, okay. That would be a good player.
Physical and things like that.
Is that who you'd take if you had the number 1 pick?
Probably not. No, I'm not taking a linebacker that's going to be a teamer first. Absolutely not. I mean, there's too many. O-line is such a need, right? And I honestly, it's crazy. I haven't been looking at the draft rankings. I mean, I know there's a ton of CFL guys playing in the US that are Canadians that are in the draft this year. And, you know, are there super, super, super high level ones? Not sure about that. But there's a lot of second, third round, fourth round guys that are going to sneak their way into rosters and going to contribute. And guys are going to look like geniuses who did their homework.
Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in and he says the Stampeders should hire Mike Davis as a consultant. We get this all the time with our guests. Would you consider a return to the CFL in some form or fashion, or are you just focused on where you're at?
I love where I'm at. You know, it's hard when you have the best situation in the business. I got stability. I don't have to worry about none of that. My players are taken care of, and I can help every CFL team, not just one.
Yeah, I know. I'm envious of you. Yeah, plus, well, right, you keep your options open, but you're winning there. Life is good. Oh, my God, this goes so bloody fast. Round 2 of the NFL gets going tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. Will you be following the next 2 days of the draft? Do you have time, or are you all wrapped up in your game Saturday night?
I mean, I'll have it on. Like, obviously, I'll have it on just because I want to see where some guys go and things like that. And I obviously haven't known so many friends, but I won't follow it closely, no.
All right. I never asked you. Do you have an NFL team?
I've been a Colts fan since I was a young kid.
Okay. Any particular reason?
No, I just liked them and fell in love with Peyton Manning and, you know, loved what they did. And so, no reason.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. Well, hey, they won a Super Bowl in your time as a fan, so that's really all that you can ask. We got a minute left with you, Mike. Anybody that's watching right now on Silver State Sports, why should they buy a ticket tomorrow night to come on out to watch you guys against the Chupacabras?
Because right now it's the best show in town. Right? It's cheap entertainment. You can get a family of 4 for less than $100. Come enjoy it. 2.5 hours of entertainment and enjoy yourself.
All right. Well, I got to put that on my bucket list to get down there and watch at the Lee's Family Forum for sure. All right, Mike, you're a busy guy. Thanks for the time. Enjoy the draft. Good luck tomorrow night. We'll chat with you in a week.
Thanks, Rod.
Mike Davis joining us from the Vegas Nighthawks of the Major League of Indoor Football. You want to learn more about the league, go to their website, goifl.com. When we come back, we'll have a sports update for you and viewer takeover. 902-518-3033 is the number to reach me here in the studio. And we'll be back in a flash. You're watching across Nevada on Silver State Sports and, of course, across Canada and 33 U.S. states on Game Plus TV. Also YouTube, podcast, and WQVZ Radio.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's the RP show, and it's been like the perfect show. Jeff the Stamps fan. Was it yesterday, Jeff the Stamps fan? You said that was the perfect show. You're more of a football guy. I'm sure you feel today's been more perfect for you. And I can read viewer comments here all the way to the top of the hour. For instance, Kirk writes in, where are you at, Kirk? This is on the Western Dodge text line, of course. The Bridge City. Good grief, we got a lot of viewers there. He says, if the GM of the Rams, Les Snead, thinks Ty Simpson can be great, who are we to question that, given the Rams drafting great players in any round with success? Simpson will get to sit and learn from Stanford for a year or two. Stafford. Best place for him to be. Tell that to Sean McVay. I'm totally with you. But if you think, or if any NFL teams think, that they're not going to walk away from the draft table and be picked apart for their selections, that's the one thing after all my years in the game that I did learn. It's no different from you if you go on a playoff draft. You leave especially a Stanley Cup playoff draft, you leave the draft table or fill out your board feeling really good the day you fill it out. Yeah, it's not for a while until you realize whether you did a good job or not, and the drafts are the exact same thing. I'm with you. But everybody's saying Sean McVay, the coach of the Rams, wasn't happy with who they took, and I'm here to tell you that's not rare. Hey, a fun thing before we get into the sports update here. What are you all doing this weekend? What are you doing? And that includes you, John Ohm. I see you're still hanging in. I know you always like when I say what I'm doing. I'm going up to Wellington, Florida tonight to watch playoffs. The Lightning specifically at the Montreal Canadiens. And then Saturday, it's the Battle for Broward. 7-on-7 high school football tournament all day. I'm going to be announcing it at Cardinal Gibbons High School. And for you, John, you asked the other day if I miss broadcasting. And then, you mentioned afterwards that you misspoke and you said, do I miss calling games? We had the precursor to this last weekend, and then this weekend, it's the big Battle for Broward. Every high school team will be there playing 7-on-7 football. Coach Matt DeBuck's team is hosting it, and he's like, get ready to be there all day. I'm like, great. So the point is, I just like being down on the field. This sunburn you all have been talking about all week came from being there out on the field for like an hour last week, and the rest of the time was in the press box. But I love talking to the refs. I love talking to the players. I love talking to the coaches. I love talking to the kids. That's really what I got into this for, and still what I love about it. So it's going to be all day Saturday announcing 7-on-7 high school football, which is, it's no joke. John Ohm says he's going to spoil people I know. Can I be one? Jeff the Stamps fan says every show is perfect, Rod. Thanks you, Jeff. I appreciate that. Utah Darren writes it. Now, there is a football fan, Utah Darren. That bro loves every league. He's curious about every league. He goes, is the game plan for a CFL draft to draft the best player available or the best player that will come and play for you? Seems to be a tricky process. No, it's the best player available, the best player that'll come play for you, and the best player for the need that you have. It's like a triple-headed monster, the CFL draft. That's the point. That's why I said to Mike, are you glad you don't have to deal with that anymore? And that's a great question by you. That's the one thing that I don't understand from the fans, and I've been around them my whole life, the CFL fans. If it's not CFL, I'm not watching. Oh, my God, I would hate to be like that. And there are thousands, maybe millions of people like that. But that's them. The sports update, 320,000 fans were present in Pittsburgh Thursday for the first night of the NFL draft, shattering the round one attendance record, as per the NFL. That tops the 275,000-plus fans who attended in Detroit in 2024. NHL playoffs, all three road teams won Thursday, with the Sabres taking a 2-1 series lead over the Bruins, while the Hurricanes and Avalanche went up 3-0 in their series. NBA scoreboard, Hawks over the Knicks 109-108. Atlanta leads the series 2-1. Raptors over the Cavaliers 126-104. Cleveland leads the series 2-1. And Timberwolves over the Nuggets 113-96. Minnesota leads that series 2-1. Sports update for the Ultimate Fan Zone, looking for the hottest fan gear. It's where I got my Cowboys quarter zip, where real fans get their gear. Shop now, ultimatefanzone.ca. Overtime is in next, 902-518-3033 to wrap up the week. We'll be right back here on Silver State Sports and Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help.
Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Oh, welcome back. It's overtime. Yeah, we're rocking and rolling into the weekend. You people, you viewers have put me in such a good mood this week. I'm very happy. As I said, you could see that, but Jeff Chikrin came in on Tuesday, NHL alum, Florida Panthers TV guy, and afterwards he was like, make sure and tell your viewers how much I enjoyed being on with them. They were so nice to me. And then Janice saying the exact same thing. She opened the interview by saying, you know what, your viewers are always so nice to me. So thank you for that. We get the best viewers on television and wherever else you're consuming this show. I feel like I've got a lot of stories that I have not quite yet put to bed, but we're brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes. Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Huge supporters of ours. We're huge supporters of them. The amusement park for hockey players. That's what it is. That's all I can tell you. When I was at Tiger Woods Golf Simulator a couple of weeks ago, Easter weekend, or was that Easter weekend? Masters weekend. I was like, this feels like Overtime Hockey Lanes, but not for hockey, for golf. Speaking of golf, Johnny Moe writes in and says, golf bolts golf. That's not very nice. Should be a hell of a hockey game tonight. Lightning at Habs. I would be cheering for Montreal, but they got enough fans, so. I do love the CFL discussion we had. You know, the draft is nobody really knows who those players are. Most Americans don't know who the NFL prospects were either, but they make it an event. Either way, just talking about the CFL is fun. I said, if we did it in Canada like they do it in the NFL, what city should it be in? Darcy writes in. He says, Regina, hands down. He's in Edmonton. Mind you, you're a Rider fan. He's a Rider fan in Edmonton, but he says it should be in Regina. Again, all opinions welcome. That's probably where they would have it. That might be where I put it. It's not going to happen, so it doesn't really matter. But that was a fun talk. Producer Corey agrees. It should be in Regina, and he's from Ottawa. Kirk in Toronto. I said, what's the best CFL jersey ever? Kirk in Toronto writes in. He says, I wore my 88 game-worn Argo jersey at a Bills game and got a lot of likes. I would have been one of them if I'd seen you. Any Argo jersey, but the Cambridge blue, the baby blues. Oh, my God. That's the best jersey in sports. Hey, we don't talk any National Lacrosse League here. And when I said that I have stories, I mean, I could go on about that forever, but I guess the playoffs start up. Got this email from the NLL. Quarterfinals. And I'm trying not to be dismissive here. Tonight on ESPN Plus and TSN. It's Halifax at Vancouver. One thing I like about this first round of the NLL playoffs, it's one and done. And the semifinals too. One game, right? It's like March Madness or Frozen 4. They don't screw around. Halifax at Vancouver tonight, game one. Only one. Game one of the best of one. Saturday, Buffalo at Georgia. San Diego at Colorado. And Toronto at Saskatchewan. 5 years ago, just as I was moving to Florida, I got a call from the Saskatchewan Rush about being their play-by-play broadcaster. You know, John, you asked if I missed calling the games. And I'm like, guys, you're about 2 years too late. I would have loved to have done that, but I'm out. I won't tell you who was on the other end of the line, but he goes, let me get this straight. You're saying no? Yeah, I am. I'm going to Florida. Don't regret it, just so you know. But I still love the league. And I often said if I could get an expansion team in the NLL and put it in Florida, it'd be the greatest thing. I'd call it the Florida Wave. But then that didn't happen. But what's come along? Roller Hockey International. And we were just meeting on that today. Roller Hockey International, the famed inline professional hockey league that played at biggest cities across North America 30 years ago. We're bringing it back, and that's been a hell of a lot of fun, and I'm open to anything. Probably find my way on the air there, too. Arlen Bruce, where'd you go? AB, just for fun, NFL, CFL alum, says his NHL picks by request. By the way, nobody requested it, AB, but I'll read it anyways. He says, for tonight, Montreal, Utah, Anaheim. Saturday, Wild Flyers. You all are welcome, says AB. LOL. We AB, we should be keeping track against each other. We could do that. With my statistical success in picking NHL games, I could open a business selling NHL picks, but I won't. I'm just saying I could. Thank you, Jeff, the Stamps fan. He says the semifinals and finals are now best of 3. Thank you for the clarification. I don't mind being corrected here. We want the best and correct information to go out. John Ohm says, roller hockey, I want to know more. We've been talking about it for weeks, John. Sign up for my newsletter. I've been talking about it every week there. We're bringing back Roller Hockey International. We have a website, rollerhockeyinternational.com. Look it up. We had teams in the 90s in Anaheim, the New Jersey Rock and Rollers, the Vancouver Voodoo, the Calgary Rads. We're bringing it back. It's so much fun. Mike's watching at Ice Time Sports in Winnipeg. He says the draft should be in Winnipeg. See, that's the thing. In the end, I feel like it would have to be a bid process and do it the way that they all do it. There's a reason they do it the way that they do it. Okay. But like for all these things, for the Grey Cup, the NFL draft, it's the one thing that, I mean, I don't really worry about it or it doesn't keep me up at night. It used to. One of the most useless phrases of all time is the CFL should blank. It's fun to talk about. But at least with roller hockey, we were actually able to put these ideas into action. And but just so you know, John and anybody else, we're not going to be playing until the summer of 2028. For whatever reason, these guys want to do it right. Can you imagine? Don't rush, Rod. It's new. I'm learning. Thanks to Mike Davis, you producer Corey, Kevin the medium. Have a great weekend. Be safe, everybody. Be good to yourselves primarily. We'll see you Monday here on the RP Show.
That